Hi, my name is Dr. Eli Wheat, and I would like to make a quick announcement about this class that I'll be teaching winter quarter 2021 called the Sustainable Society. This is a 5-credit class, meets Mondays and Wednesdays from 3:30 to 5:20. I'm very excited about this class. The content of this class is literally the stuff of my dinner table conversation. I talk about this class more than I talk about any single class I teach at the University of Washington. This class brings together so many things that I love. It brings together labor rights. It brings together the important work of justice and equity in our society. It brings out indigenous scholarship and relationship with place. It asks the question of how we can live better on this planet. I don't have the answers to the questions that we're going to explore in this class together, but I love these questions. I feel hopeful every time I get to teach this class that because of the work that you and I and countless other citizens across our nation and indeed beyond our nation are doing to ask these questions of how do I live better on this planet? How do I become a more sustainable member of life here on this earth? We'll be reading, as we explore these questions, these 5 texts. So we'll be looking at Just Sustainabilities, which is a book devoted to unpacking the relationship between racial justice and social equity in our societies. We'll look at the question of why historically have societies succeeded or collapsed under different environmental pressures. What helps set a group of people up for success when adversity comes knocking? We'll be looking to the scholarship, the work of the former director of the Yale School of the Environment, James Speth, and he'll be reading his book, which is called The Bridge at the End of the World. Basically, that book is exploring how we get from where we are now to where we might want to be. We'll also be looking through the text of Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, who is an indigenous scholar, and looking into relationships with place and questions of science and how we define the work that's in front of us. I'm deeply interested in the question of equity and justice in our society, and I firmly believe that we can't actually achieve a more sustainable society until we begin to actually start focusing on the conversation around justice and equity within our society. We'll be reading the book Fresh Fruit, Broken Bodies, which is an exploration of what it's like to be a farm worker, not hundreds of years ago, but right here in this decade here in Washington State. We'll also be looking to the scholarship of an author, Paulo Freire, who's a Brazilian scholar who wrote the text, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, which is basically a look at how we can use education to transform society. As an educator, I'm deeply inspired by Paulo Freire's vision for a just and equitable world. As we explore these texts, one of the amazing things that you'll find happening is that it'll begin to turn the world on its head, because in fact, sustainability requires of us nothing less than a commitment to being willing to open our hearts to turn our relationship with our daily life in a new direction. For many of us, that may mean turning our relationship with life on its head. I don't believe that we can build a sustainable society from within the framework we exist in now. I believe we need a new lens. This image by Simon Bolt is such an inspirational vision of what that new lens might look like. I'm very excited to spend the quarter unpacking these questions with you. And I hope you'll join me this winter for Environment 439, the Sustainable Society. Not that we're there now, but to ask the questions of how we get from where we are now to how we might be in a more sustainable relationship with ourselves, with our own spirits, with our neighbors, with our non-human neighbors, and indeed with the planet as a whole. Please join me. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. My email address is elizaw@uw.edu. Thanks so much for listening.